Giggs. No. Rhodri.
Is there anything that Lionel Messi is better than you at?
It's opinions. I respect your opinions. Maybe in your opinion Messi is better than me, but in my mind I'm better than him.
I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I'm a cop a farm and go act up. Like scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month. I don't rap much. I just hit the money and go stack up. Only buy Carhartt cards and get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up,
Hey guys, I'm Si. Welcome to A.C.E Podcast Nation, the home of Rhodri Giggs on football. This is episode number 26. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, as you're aware by now. And of course, we do all sorts of shows and content interviews on the channel. So please do give us a follow on social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel; really helps us out a lot. If you can drop a like, also drop comments on the YouTube video outside of the live chat. That also helps a lot. If you prefer your podcast in audio form, then get them at the Sports Social Podcast Network. That includes all of our shows, all of our series, including this one, plus all the interviews and stuff that we do. They'll always pop up on there as well through the podcast feeds. As you know as well by now, we're supporting this year the Charity Super 6. So a little quick update for that. Excuse me, sorry. A few low scores this week. Most of us had the last round might as well have been cancelled. But well done to Michael Shepherd, who, if I, but off the top of my head, I think he was like one goal away from like a full house, 25 points or whatever it is. And Chuck Amity, who both scored 15, only just missed out on top spot to Dale Perry. From our celebs, Cohen Griffith topped the round on 11 points. But obviously the main story of the round is that Rhodri has cut my lead down to 3 points. And he's celebrating like Liverpool winning the league in March. It is Mr. Rhodri Giggs. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm celebrating the inevitable.
Well, mate, nothing's won in March, is it? Apart from the Coca-Cola Cup.
No. True. But it's lost in March.
You're better than that, mate. Come on.
Well, you probably lost in February, didn't you?
I'm no Kevin Keegan. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Come on.
True.
I'm more of
worse than that. It was more than 12 points.
It
was double that.
One? The Blackburn guy lost about 20 points, didn't they? The 1 year. Wow.
Yeah, I'm good though.
Good, mate. There's so much going on. It's unreal in the world of football. I want to start with Chelsea, mate, because I really feel for Chelsea fans in some ways.
What are you going to say, Abramovich, then?
No, I don't feel for him. But it's the fans are going to get punished, aren't they, for something which is completely so out of their hands. It's unreal. And look, I said a couple of years back, or like probably in the early days of Abramovich, like when he was spending big all the time, is that if he gets bored and goes, Chelsea could be in some real trouble financially. I think they're in a better situation now than they were probably in the early days of his leadership. I think he's been a bit more responsible. They get a lot of money in and out and stuff. But I have seen a few people on like social media, a couple of journalists who are kind of shit hot on the financial side of football, who have said that whenever kind of buys Chelsea off him, could be inheriting something which has got a few issues. So I don't think it's plain sailing. However, if anyone's been living under a rock, obviously over the weekend, Abramovich announced that he was basically Chelsea was going to be run by the foundation, and he was sort of stepping back from the day-to-day running. And then a few days later, he said he was selling the club. And he hasn't really put a reason on it, but I think everyone kind of knows that it's because of the sanctions that are coming on Russian businesses, Russian athletes. And I got a question for you in a minute about that, which I want to put to you, but I want to get your opinion on the Chelsea thing first. I know you've got a few Chelsea mates as well. Like, do you feel sorry for them? The fans? Not really.
No, not really. No. Because, no, let's face it, the last 20 years, they've gone from a mid-table team to, champions of Europe. Mm-hmm. Twice. Was it twice?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, twice. So, and, let's face it, he's not... Yes, they're not going to get another Roman Abramovich, but who else? There isn't many Roman Abramoviches about. Yes, City have done well, and Newcastle have probably done well. But other than that, Man United's could think of Man United's owners losing 1.5 billion. It's just unheard of, or just washing your hands with it. Yeah. So, do I feel sorry for them? No, not really. They've had a good run, and let's face it, they're in a good position. Yes, they've got, I think it's minor issues. Do they really have to redesign that ground and knock it down? Is it big enough to do that site? I'm not sure, and they're not going to get another one, especially in that area for the amount of money that that they'll want to pay.
Yeah.
So it's prime real estate. Chelsea, she's not going to get it. So I just don't know how they're going to go about it. But yes, they're not going to get a Russian oligarch who spends millions and millions of pounds and makes them into a European powerhouse. But they'll still do all right. They'll still be probably having the billionaire taking over him. So it'll just be run a little bit different. That's all.
No one poor is going to buy the football club at the end of the day, are they? Let's
exactly. And when you hear the money that he paid for it, 140 million, and now he's like scouting out 3 billion. You're not going to get 3 billion for Chelsea Football Club. Let's have it right. He'll probably get 2 summit, but he's nowhere near 3 billion. Nowhere near.
No, I think it's interesting. Straight away in the comments, there's a kind of few people of different opinions. Like Donna says, it's not right. I feel sorry for them. It's not Roman's fault that he was born in Russia. However, I don't think it's necessarily the fact that he's Russian. I think it's more the fact that he's kind of mates with Putin, isn't he? Which has kind of shined the light on him.
All these Russian oligarchs, billionaires, have all benefited from Vladimir Putin.
Yeah,
that's why
made their money off the Russian people,
with him and helping him or whatever. Yeah, they've all gained from it. That's why,
of course,
in a matter of a week, he's selling his most beloved football club. Come on, why? Because you're going to lose it if you don't, or there's going to be sanctions put on it. So you need to get rid. So he's not doing it for let's have it right. He's doing it because he's going to lose out if he doesn't.
Yeah, like Rob says, he said, I'll play devil's advocate here. It's certainly the right thing for him to do based on the current situation. However, if he isn't getting financed by the tool in Russia and has no influence from him, then why should he have to yield? But I think the amount of money...
because he knows as well as everyone else, if people do digging, they'll find that they have worked. And they've crossed paths many, many, many times.
100%, mate. And I think...
Yeah, and then it's not worth the chance of losing, £2-3 billion pounds? For what?
Yeah.
Just cut your losses. You've had a good time. He's changed the football club massively. It's probably going to be the most successful period of their history. So he's not left them in a bad place. And, you got John Terry tweeting he was the best. Yeah, so a lot of Chelsea people will hold him very dearly. So, but it was the right thing to do.
But I also
otherwise he could lose it.
Yeah, I think that's more the issue, is that because of the situation and the sanctions that are kind of starting to come through now on athletes, on sports teams, on sports all around the world, but also businesses, is that if he had kind of been stubborn and said, no, I'm not going to give it up, and I'm not going to sell him, Chelsea could have been in a lot of financial trouble then, because if they've got no money allowed to come in from Russia,
they'll go under.
They would go under. Exactly what you said. They would go under, and they would go under quick as well, mate, because of the amount of money. Yeah, their wage bill is huge.
They'd be finished, and then that brings its own problems.
Yeah, of course, and no one wants to see that today. No one wants to see a Premier League club like Chelsea. No one wants to see any.
You can clearly tell that he obviously loves the club, because the amount of money he's put into it. No one does that if they don't love something or not invested in something. So it's a difficult time, but
sure they'll be all right.
I'm sure they'll get through it.
The
Germans have set a precedent as well by detaining that guy, the geezer from Everton's £250 million yacht. They've just seized it.
Oh, is that right? I hadn't seen that. I saw that
somewhere in Hamburg. £250 million yacht. The guy who's involved with Everton, it's his yacht, and they've just seized it.
Jesus. I saw that. I think it was Belarus. I might be wrong, but it was another country which wasn't Russia, had been punished in some way from a sporting aspect.
They're connected, aren't they? Their leaders
because they said any country which is backing Russia or on their side or in any way kind of not against them will be also kind of punished. So I think it was a football match that's been cancelled, like one of the qualifiers, or so. I'll see if I can find it.
Now, aren't they? That Grand Prix has been cancelled. No, I'm looking at the Paralympics now. They can't get involved in that in the Winter Paralympics. So
the UFC London main event, mate, is Tom Aspinall versus Volkov, isn't it? So I don't know if that's going to go ahead, because you've got also Petr Yan is on.
I think the UFC are a bit bullish with stuff like that. They don't get involved in politics and wars and stuff like that.
They've got a lot of money as well, haven't they, themselves?
Yeah, knowing the persona of Dana White,
I think they'll work something out. I do.
Yeah,
but it's certainly at risk, I would say. Lorna says, isn't Roman Abramovich very good friends with Putin? But if so, why is he giving the money to help the Ukraine funds?
Well, this is the thing. He has gained from it, but are he close anymore? So
I don't know.
He's just got to cut ties with it and be seen to doing the right thing. Let's have it right. He bought it for £140 million. So whatever he does, he's going to make a profit, even if he gives the billion away to Ukraine and the war. He's still going to have $1 billion and a bit left.
Sure.
Well, and he paid £140 million for it. Yes, he's put $1.5 million in for it, but that was his choice.
Absolutely, yeah. Craig says he made his 10 billion from Russia. So, if sanctions come in, I would say the majority of his cash flow probably comes in and out of Russia. So, like I said, Chelsea would have been if he hadn't have done what he did, like a step back and sold the club now, or looking to sell the club, Chelsea would have gone under. They would have been in trouble. So in some ways, I kind of admire him for not being stubborn and saying, I haven't done anything wrong, so why should I? He's kind of done.
He'll be able to go back to Chelsea Football Club or go around Chelsea area with his head held high and he'll be treated.
Absolutely.
Imagine if he got him, put him into
administration and
then he wouldn't be able to go back. It'd be curtains for him. So he's got smart people around him. He's obviously given the right answers, and this is the right one.
On the other side of things, like on the sporting side of things, a few people have mentioned it in the comments. Like Chelsea have got about 50 players out on loan, as has always been the case over the years, isn't it? From youth players and fringe players and all this. That's obviously something which will need to be addressed.
Yeah, they've got some good ones as well. The kid from Southampton who scored last night, he's at Chelsea.
They're all over the place, mate. There's so many of them. But I think it was Craig just said there's like 50 out on loan, laughing. But I think it is around that number, sort of 40, 50 players at various league, levels and stuff.
Plus,
kind
a
of
very
one
good
of
new
those
system.
things. Yeah, of course. The problem has always been getting those players through into the first team more than anything. But it'll be interesting. It'll be a very interesting situation. Just while we're kind of on like that, the Russian situation, what do you think about athletes and football teams and people being stopped from earning a living and competing?
Unfortunately, they're suffering from their leader, and it's just they're just innocent victims in it all, because most of these people, they don't even know what the Soviet Union and the old ways, and they've never known anything different, just peace and just everything's hunky dory. But it obviously goes back a long way, and so it's they're athletes. They're nothing to do with. They're not politicians or people in the army. They're just and it's just a shame, because these people probably spend 3 or 4 years of their life building up to this, and then they can't play, especially in the Olympics or the World Cup and the qualifiers coming up. These sportsmen, they dedicate their lives, and now they can't play because some idiots got trigger happy.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, because it's not their fault, and I think it's just kind of, there's nothing that you can really do about it. Like I don't know. It's difficult to see how you can let them carry on and compete, because you can't sanction businesses in some sports and not others. But I do feel sorry for them, because at the end of the day, like, you speak to particularly like fighters and runners and people like that in the early stages of their career, if they haven't had gold medals and done all these different things, they've got bills to pay, they've got families to feed, and without competing, they don't get that money, which means that they're in the same state that other people are. But it's unfortunate. Obviously, I think I saw Ukraine have asked for the World Cup qualifier, I think it was, to be postponed against Scotland. That's understandable. I would imagine that I would think that they will probably postpone all the playoffs, because I don't see.
I don't know. I don't think they'll get as many as done as possible. Well, Why would you postpone any other countries? That
it kind of puts Scotland and Ukraine at a disadvantage, though, doesn't it? If they already know that Wales and Austria,
like I said before, it's innocent victims. It's a lot of, what's the word? Not ballistics. Not a lot of logistics going into these playoff games. So I can't see many of them being postponed, or anything, to be honest.
It's kind of like there's people all over the place who are just going to be affected by it, aren't they?
It's just like the COVID situation, unfortunately. It's horrible to say it, but even though it's war in another country, we have got to continue and try and continue it as normal.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's like
it's very hard, especially when you're watching the news, and especially just come out there. Just been watching the news in some village who have got nothing of government buildings, and it's just been destroyed, and it's just
wiped out.
It's shocking, yeah. It's shocking. These are kids and old people, and yeah, it's just why. I'm just looking at it and thinking, what's going on here? Am I missing something?
Yeah.
But then again, you watch the interview with Putin today. He's just oblivious to it all. No, we're not bombing any civilian buildings. You clearly are. Oh no, that's media propaganda. 7-year-old kids being detained. No, they're just being detained for a couple of hours for their own safety. What? 7?
Yeah.
So it's a weird place. It was a weird place. It's a weird place when I went, mate. I'll never go back ever again. It was weird. I was only there for 24 hours. We went there for the European Cup final, and it was weird. It was grey. It was miserable. And it was sunny as well, but everything's grey. Soldiers marching on the street. It was weird. Weird.
It wouldn't go back, mate, was it? Is that what you're saying?
No. 100% will not be going back to Moscow. The Kremlin, though, the Kremlin and that the whole is pretty impressive. It's
historical
red,
side
it's
of it,
all
isn't it?
different colours, but everything else is just grey and dull. It's every 2 miles, you see soldiers march on the streets. Weird.
The thing is, what I find frustrating is all the people who are to blame for everything. They make the decisions about going to war, going to invade, and who.
But war.
They're not the people who are putting their lives at risk and stuff. They're not the people who are hurt by the attacks. Either way, it's just
the Russians don't think it's war and an invasion. No, they're not reporting it as that. They just think they're getting their own territory back or something along them lines. It's clearly deluded. Clearly, they're calling them neo-Nazis and all this crap. What are you on about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Obviously, we're going to go back to football now in a minute. I'm just going to point out what Reese has just put here because it's kind of, I think you said it last week, something similar. He said the Belarusian leader revealed during the state TV thing that the country's plans for Ukraine, and they revealed by accident that Russia's planning on invading Moldova next, who aren't under NATO, basically trying to reform the Soviet Union. And I think that was kind of clear from the start, but I mean, it's. I
remember a few years ago, and all these countries come be like, "Where's they come from?" Like Georgia, when they all just changed, and they all broke off, and it's just weird. It's just weird. And you look at the size of Russia, it's
massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. It's probably the biggest country in the world. I think it actually is the biggest country in the world because it goes on for Siberia. It literally starts in Europe and ends in China.
Jesus Christ.
How big it is. It ends in China.
No, mate,
because I know you don't know your geography, so I have to educate you.
No, I need you to educate me all the time on geography, mate. I need it because it's a struggle for me. So
to the shop.
Moving on a bit.
Need some sat nav for some points come Saturday, know that.
No, mate, I reckon I got a full house and get a nice bit of prize money coming this week. I can feel it. I'm due one. Just if you get every game right, do you automatically win the prize of whatever it is?
No, because you did that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. You got every
no. I mean, if you get correct scores as well.
Well, you get 250 grand.
If you get 5 points from each game, you get 250 grand.
Yeah. Or if it's on one of them weekends where it's $1 million.
Yeah.
Depending on no one else has got it. And then you go from the time of the score.
Oh yeah, the goal, yeah.
Yeah.
So Will just said, he obviously runs it. He said 30 points wins top prize.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. There was a guy, I think it was the guy, I texted to you on the weekend.
There was 2 or 3 that were 1 goal out.
Unbelievable. He had all 5 points, and then in one game he got the result right, but the goal was I think it was 2-1, but it should have been 3-1.
2 or 3 at 27 points.
Got it. That would be, especially if there was a VAR decision or something.
My mate rang me yesterday. Was it last night? He's got COVID, so he put a bet on last night. And he didn't usually bet. He put 20 quid on Southampton, West Ham, Southampton both to score, Southampton to win, Everton, Luton, Everton to win. I mean, Chelsea, Luton, and Chelsea to win, and he had Real Mallorca and Real Sociedad, and it was 2-0 to Real Sociedad. And it ended up 2. He was like, "Oh, should I cash out? It's like 600 quid." I went, "No, it's only 20 quid. Ride it out." And then in the last 5 minutes, I should have cashed out, I said, "Fell off."
Oh, dear.
And it ended up 2-0. He'd lost.
Beautiful. Right. Where should we start?
Should have bet with Paddy Power. He got better odds, and he might have got a cash back. So
yeah, you might have got the cash back then. I want to talk. Nice little plug, mate, for Paddy Power, doing his job well. Ambassador, beautiful, like it. I want to talk about Middlesbrough versus Spurs, and I want to speak about Spurs. But before we do that, very quickly, I want to get your thoughts on United's performance against Watford. 0-0. Not the result they were looking for. Were they any better though?
Who?
United.
Oh, mate, it should have been 4 or 5-0 in the first 25 minutes. How, Ronaldo, great touch inside the 6-yard box, and he's dragged it and hit the post. Bruno could have had 2 goals, one-on-ones, sitters, really. And then there was another one that someone should have scored. It should have been an easy game. And then Watford slowly started getting into it the second half. And then, the last 30 minutes, he's put 3 at the back. And it was just like the Alamo. They just couldn't get through. Just couldn't score. Ronaldo would still be there now. And it was just, if you've played the game, especially up front.
Just one of them days.
Yeah, it was just one of them days. Because even the first 5 minutes, the ball's coming across and his touch is just like immaculate. He's killed it, but killed it where it's just like enough space where he can just go boom. But he's dragged it. It's hit the post. And then Bruno should have scored a couple, at least a couple. Ronaldo should have scored again. He scored, but he was offside by inches. So it wasn't a bad performance because I watched it. It was a rare 3 o'clock. So when it's 3 o'clock, I usually watch it. So,
yeah.
But it wasn't a bad performance. It was just couldn't get the ball in the back of net. Bad finishing from who you'd want it to fall to.
I've seen a lot of people criticising Ronaldo again this week since that weekend performance. And what I don't understand with him, mate, right, is all right. Look, he's not as good as he might not be as sharp as he once was, as quick.
It doesn't matter, mate. He's better than what we've got, and he's better than anything else.
If you take Ronaldo out of that side this season, United would be down in the bottom half.
Yeah, we've been table.
It's and I think he just doesn't because people don't like him. They try and play down his achievements as a player and a sportsman and an athlete. Like, the man's one of the greatest ever, and I do sometimes feel like people have got this weird personal thing that, like, because
jealousy.
They don't like him.
Most of it's jealousy.
It's strange, but it's got to be, because I don't know how you can't, even if you're on, like, Team Messi and you think Messi's the better footballer, or, like, whatever, I don't know how you can play down what Ronaldo's achieved, the shape he keeps him in, the effort that it takes to stay that fit, that he can play at the top level at age 37 and still, be as good as his counterparts. I don't understand. He
could have gone to somewhere and literally scored like 1 or 2 goals, like someone else who we just mentioned, and then he'd be really under fire. But no, he scored 16, 17 goals, assists coming out of his ears, and if without Ronaldo, we'd be mid-table. I mean, we'd be out of the Champions League. So. People need to shut up, be realistic, and the guy's 37. He's not the 30-year-old, but he's better than anything else that we've got.
What I don't get as well is like
I say, Lionel Messi has gone to another club,
I was going to say,
PSG, which let's have it right. It's nothing like the Premier League, and he scored 2 goals.
Not
if
only
that was Ronaldo, if he'd come to United and scored 2 goals. Imagine the stick he'd be getting. He's got 16 goals. Imagine you get the stick he was getting if he got 2.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, as well, mate, right? Messi is playing in a team that's full of like unbelievable talent, better than the United team. In a league that's
arguably better,
pub league, basically, outside of maybe 1 or 2 teams. And I just think
on par with public, probably on par with the Cyprus League. Shout out to Stella if he's watching. Yeah, pub league. Yeah,
it's a weird thing. And like Messi, I barely see his name mentioned because he's not doing much, but also he doesn't seem to attract the same like attention, abuse, trolling, whatever you want to call it, on social and even the media, not just social media, like just the media.
No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit because he's quiet. He hasn't got a Netflix. He hasn't got 400 million followers. He's not, doing Terrible. He must have got paid millions for that. Have you seen his advert that he's done?
No.
Oh my God, you've got to see it.
I don't watch TV, mate. So I don't know.
No, I mean, it's on Twitter, it's on social media. That's where I've seen it.
I'll have a
It's
look.
a phone thing, and it's like, it's proper like, and it's like, he's dancing with the phone. Oh, it's embarrassing. But,
Mate,
he's
he made some
Ronaldo, he's
bag
probably
out of
got
that,
paid. He's probably going, if you go in the changing room and you say, what's that? I got 5 million quid for that. Then he probably has, because it's terrible. I mean, the terrible in the way that he's got a dance and
just looks stupid, like cheesy.
Yeah, cheesy. Yeah, proper like something you'd see where if you go to like Spain in adverts, not Spain or somewhere in
like a European, like an 80s
like Hungary
European,
or even China or Japan.
Nothing like the greatest advert of all time, mate. From Paddy Power.
Not at all. No, not at all.
That'll go down in history as the greatest ever, mate. I told you that before.
Correct. By a novice.
Exactly that. Like, no, just walked in, nailed it. Didn't have to repeat any of his lines.
Nope.
Just in, out, let's go.
That's because you prepare properly.
Absolutely, mate. Always prepared, didn't you? Prepared to fail to
script was done. Done the run throughs. Everything was ready to go. That's to be on what's the word? Not on site. Is it on site?
Come on. Got to get it now. So there's no outtakes from that advert there, mate. There's
I'm sure there is. Sure there is.
They should have put that video out, shouldn't they? The outtakes.
I'm sure there is somewhere. It was sweet.
Indeed. Right, mate. FA Cup this week has been going on. What is going on with Spurs? They've had a disastrous probably week or two. Starting with Conte's little meltdown after the game. He kind of recovered a bit from that and kind of explained it a bit. But they lost to Boro, mate, and Boro deserved the victory. I thought Boro were excellent, and it was a good finish. And I just, it's just the way it is. At the end of the day, Spurs got problems still.
We know we've got problems. They just, the City games masked that a little bit. But they've clearly got problems. The manager's not happy. I've got no sympathy whatsoever for Spurs because they just.
Do you think it's brought on completely by the manager? By what's his face, Daniel Levy?
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
they can't be too smart for their own good. They're just
penny pinching all the time, aren't they?
Yeah, you can't do it.
And I think Conte coming in, you always get that new manager kind of buzz, don't you? Like when the new manager comes in, you win a couple of games, performances get better, where the players are trying to impress the new manager. But ultimately, I think that papered over some of the cracks because Spurs were dreadful at the start of the season.
Well, it does paper over the cracks, but it proves his point. You go away, win at City, and then 3 days later. So if you win at City, you got to travel all the way home and all the way back up a couple of days later to Burnley, which, I play on Burnley's pitch. It's a nice pitch. It's a beautiful pitch, but it's minging when it's freezing and cold and wet and windy. And it was wet, windy and cold. And they got beat 1-0. And that because they haven't got a strong enough squad. They just haven't.
Yeah. To Boro, I think a few people saying, but has Boro got Chelsea in the next round then, have they?
I'm not sure. As soon as United got knocked out, I switch off with the FA Cup.
I think there seems to be that people are saying they got Chelsea. Look, that's a great opportunity for them because Boro, they've been doing well.
Chelsea were very lucky. I watched that game and Luton played very well.
Real good.
Very good.
I like Luton.
And they could have easily won it, but Chelsea just, turned the screw last 30 minutes and got the 2 goals they needed. But it won't be easy. Where's it at? Middlesbrough or Chelsea? Wherever it's at, they've beat United away, so they won't be scared of going to Stamford Bridge. Yeah. And either if it's at the Riverside, that probably puts them more in their favour because it was bouncing yesterday. The other day, it was bouncing. So it's a difficult place to go, especially when you've got a very, very, very good manager like Chris Wilder. So you've got half a chance.
Very experienced, isn't he?
FA Cup as well. We've seen it over the years, year after year after year. These upsets, and we'll always see them. These teams don't go in with the right frame of mind. The team below, it's their cup final. They're up for it. They're on the telly. And you haven't got the right frame of mind in football, you will get turned over, no matter how good you are.
Yeah, but Boro have got absolutely nothing to fear of they, because, like you say, they've beaten United, they've beaten Spurs, Chelsea scraped through against Luton. Go and do your thing, innit? And get stuck in, play your game. Chris Wilder's a great manager. The one thing I thought I got a soft spot for Luton, because they remind me of my days growing up watching Cardiff and like a proper football club. Luton are. I like the ground. I like everything about it. I like the fact that it's not like a modern ground. Proper football club.
Told you a story about that. Have I told you a story about Kenilworth Road?
No. Go on.
I told it last week. Last week when we was about, I must have been about 10. Ryan must have been about 13, 14, and we was going to Wembley. My dad was driving like a blue Fiesta. We was going to Wembley, England under schoolboys, under 15s against Brazil under 15 schoolboys. Anyway, we've gone to the match, and on the way home, the car's broken down on the roundabout coming off the roadway. So anyway, this Asian guy's come up. So speak to Dad. He's ended up taking to this house where he had, and we ended up staying there. At the bedroom, he opened the window. It opened out onto Luton's ground, Kenilworth Road. Anyway, we stay there, and the guy obviously said, "We'll sort your car out in the morning." He says, "All right, sweet." So I wake up. Remember, it was freezing in there. It had in the bedrooms, it had the old gas fires in the bedrooms, every bedroom. And so he takes to the garage. The guy obviously does something to fix it. Dad says, "Oh, let me have a little test run and see what it's like." Okay. So he drives around the block. We're waiting on the corner. And he drives on the block and he comes round, opens the door. "Quick, get in. Mm-hmm. Me and Mark get in. He drives off. It's like, why is he doing that? Why is he? "Oh, I didn't have enough money to pay him. I couldn't pay him. So, I'll send him some money in the post. I have to get some petrol." And he didn't pay him, he just drove off. But it was overlooking Luton's ground, and it was AstroTurf then, if you remember. It was an old AstroTurf pitch.
Yeah, back in the day, wasn't it? Yeah. See, he'd be watching that now, and he'd be like, "Never sent me that money."
Oh,
quality. No, I thought Luton were excellent, mate. I really thought they were really, really good, and I thought they were a bit unlucky. Chelsea just had a little bit too much in the end, but I thought it was great stuff. So tonight we got, I think, is it Everton in it and Boro Wood, but I want to have a look at some of the kind of results. Was there any other FA Cup games you watched, mate, over the week?
I watched the end of Southampton West Ham. No, not really. I was watching the Chelsea and Luton game. I was just flicked it over, and it was a good game, so I just ended up watching it. And then as soon as Chelsea scored 3-2, and I turned over and watched Southampton and West Ham. The end of that 10 minutes. So there,
West Ham, mate, bit of an anomaly this year, isn't they? A very up and down.
They've done really, really well. Look where they are, mate. Absolutely. Look where they are. They've played in Europe as well. They're the 5th or 6th in the league, with a limited squad. So Southampton's not easy. They're a good side, some of them.
Does
on the day.
The season that West Ham are having and the job he's done overall, does it show that if David Moyes was given time at United, he could have done a good job?
No. I don't know. I don't know, actually. I don't know. My opinion, no. Because of the way he was coming in and the way he was talking to certain players, no. You can't bring your manager, you can't bring what you're doing at Everton to Man United. It's just totally different environment. The way he was talking to certain players, how to defend, how can you tell Rio Ferdinand how to defend?
Oh, I agree, 100%. But what I would say is, with any job in the whole world, is like when you come in, you're meeting new people, blah blah blah. Sometimes there's a bit of an adjustment, so you can get used to how people are, how they speak, how they do things. Look, he might have failed miserably, but I would argue that he never really got a chance to implement anything of
It was a
note
poor.
that he wanted
No,
to.
he didn't. And 7, 8 months is nowhere near enough, and it proves that David Moyes needs time. He's a manager that needs time, and he just didn't get that. The signs were there though, but yeah, it was a poor choice in my opinion. Anyway, he'd done nothing at Everton, never
I
won a
don't think I've
thing.
ever asked you. Who do you think they should have put in when they knew Fergie was leaving? I know who I think, but I'm interested. I'm not going to say what it is. I'll tell you now. I just want to see what you think.
I don't know because it's a long time ago.
So my thought on it is that they had the chance before Pep went to Man City. Obviously, Fergie had a meeting with him, and it seemed like it was all in place. They should have followed that up. I think that was a real big mistake because ultimately at that time it was kind of Pep or Mourinho. And if you look at it on paper, Pep was always a better fit for United than Mourinho. And I just think after they had that meeting and it was positive and blah, 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 then they should have followed that up. And I think as a club, that was probably a bit sloppy. Maybe they just assumed that he would wait for him. I don't know. Bit of arrogance, maybe. I'm not sure. But for me, him or Mourinho were the only two in the world at that time.
They are good managers.
Over from Ferguson.
They are good managers, but let's have it right. Guardiola took over that Barcelona team. It's probably the best team I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah, true. But he's also he's gone on and done it.
Bayern Munich, the best team, the best players. Manchester City, best team, best players. Mourinho was the same, but when that money dwindled and they had to coach, we've seen it with Mourinho. Yes, he did okay at United, but he didn't really win. He wasn't successful as he would have wanted. Did he get the players that he wanted? No, he didn't. And that's probably why. If you're going to bring someone like that in Mourinho, I'm sure Guy Neville said it. If you're going to bring someone like that in, you've got to give him what he wants. Yes. What's the point? What's the point? And it's the same with Guardiola thing. I don't think he would be able to do certain stuff with. So if you give Guardiola Southampton now, they would be no better, in my opinion. But if he comes to United, he would have had the same luxury and same. So yeah, it was obviously in hindsight now it was the one that we should have got signed up
away kind of thing, isn't it? I think they've tried a bit of everything, haven't they? They tried David Moyes in the young upcoming manager. They tried Ollie as the legend ex-player, and they tried Mourinho, who's literally won everything in the game. And they tried, Van Gaal, who's won.
The problem you've got now is United need to look at people's the mistakes that people have done in the past. And I'm talking about Liverpool. I'm going to go way back 30 years ago when they were dominant. All the early 90s, they were dominant. And they just struggled for 20 years until they brought someone in who was really good, give him time. And he was there 4 years before he won anything.
Yeah.
And they've got to do the same. But the problem we've got at United is you're going to bring someone in, all they've got to do is go for a little paw patch. Oh, they're useless. Oh, they're crap. Yes. Everyone, at Twitter, everyone's champ manager and everyone knows the game inside out. This guy here, or Jose Mourinho, or Van Gaal, or what do they know? They know nothing. Johnny from Johnny from down the road. I know everything. So he's getting rid of him. Get rid of him. Bring him in. Bring Pochettino in. Yeah, another person that's won nothing. So I would. If it was me, I'd be bringing the Ajax guy in. If it was me.
Yeah, so a couple of things from the comments now. So Will made a good point. He said, with Moyes, obviously, he said Aberdeen to United for Fergie was a different ball game in terms of the size and everything.
No. I understand that, but Fergie was winning things. He was winning European titles with Aberdeen.
With Aberdeen, yeah, of course.
He won the Cup Winners' Cup they had back in them days.
Yeah.
So if you won the FA Cup or the Carling Cup, you went to a European Cup. That's what it was. And they won that. And he won the leagues that breaking, Celtic and Rangers. You tell me last time someone won the league. That was it. It was Aberdeen.
And the other thing is football was very different.
David Moyes didn't do anything with Everton like that. Didn't win anything. Didn't win any European Cups. Oh, he come 5th or 6th, one league. One year. Great.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that side of it. I think ultimately the other thing is
statue just outside the ground.
Say again?
Just had a statue put outside the ground of Aberdeen. Sure. Where's the statue of David Moyes outside Everton?
Well, you might have one day. He's still going, isn't he?
Do me a favour. What? He didn't win anything.
Well,
you don't give you statues for not winning things.
It's like a participation award, isn't it?
No. There's levels. You've got.
He might have one at West Ham.
That's why Mourinho was hot property. Because if he didn't win that Champions League, he wouldn't have had the career he had. So it's all about winning. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if he won just one of them Europa Leagues.
The Europa League on penalties was the one he missed out on, wasn't it? That was the one he should have won.
When you're getting beaten semi-finals and finals, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, I agree.
Where soon as history tells you, when you get to a semi-final with Jose Mourinho, you get to the final, you win it. If you get to a semi-final with Alex Ferguson, you get to the final, and usually you win it. So it's the only time you don't win it when you come against the greatest team you've ever seen with Lionel Messi in it.
Yeah, and I think it's fair, isn't it? It's like it's not. I think it's fair to say that David Moyes didn't get enough time, but it's also fair to say he probably was not up to the job. Boro fan asked a question.
That's not his fault. You're still going to take the job.
And by the way, mate, he might get a statue next to the Bobby Moore statue by the time his career is over if he takes West Ham to European glory. Boro fan says, "What do you and who do you think can fix United's problems, Rhodri?" So what are the problems? How would you fix them? And who do you think is the man for the job?
It's just another. You've got to identify how the way you want to play. So they want to play high up, pressing. So you can't have Manny Maguire playing because he just exposes you. You can't. If I was a player who's playing that way, I'd be going right over Manny Maguire. As soon as you get the ball, see that space there. That's where I'm going to be. If he gives me to feet, then he's just a. No, he's getting found out.
Not suited to that style of tactic, is he? He's getting found out.
No, it doesn't suit. So that you've got, what happens at the end of the season? Mata's going. Does Cavani go? Probably does. Pogba. There's 3. Matic, Mata. There's 5 players. Who else is there?
It's a big job.
Lingard. Rashford's not doing it at the minute. He needs to kick up his ass. What's going on? And then you've got to, first of all, you've got to identify who's going to be manager. Let's get that sorted out, first of all. As soon as we get that sorted out, then we can move forward. But until that, is it Ralph? Who's it going to be? So I like this guy. I like this new guy, but I just don't think the rest of the fan base. I don't know, but his records is pretty good. He's changed us a lot more sturdy at the back, a lot more defensively sound. The results have seen that. Yes, we're not winning most games, but we're not losing them either. Plus, we're creating like 25 chances a game and scoring 1, or not even scoring. So not as if they're not creating chances. They just need to get someone to put them in the box. We need a midfielder desperately who can keep the ball, who's that glue in the midfield, who can help the others. Because we see, especially me, when I've seen it anyway, when Matic plays, we're a much better team, because he can play football. He's composed on the ball, doesn't panic. Fred's a bit of a, everything's hot potato. I'm sure, definitely want to see his passport. I'm not sure if he's Brazilian. So.
Reece just said there, he says, Pochettino took a relegation-threatened Espanyol to mid-table safety. He took Southampton to their highest finish, 8th in the league. Took Spurs, a team refusing to spend, to a Champions League final and 2nd in the league. He played great football and has great man management. The players want to play for him.
I understand that, but when you get in a position like he did, you have to win. And he didn't. He lost.
He did. He failed.
Everything he just said there, that's great. But what's he come out of it? What's he won? Where's his medal? What's he done? Yeah. That's what we want at United. We need someone who knows how to win. And I'm not sold on this Pochettino. I'm not at all, because of that fact. Will he be able to do it at Man United? Who knows? Who knows?
All right. Last thing on United before we move to the Championship. If you had to make the decision now, you have to say it straight away without thinking, who would you appoint manager of Man United at the end of the year? Because I know you mentioned the Ajax manager just now.
Yeah, that Ben Saar, yeah.
Good shout. So the Championship, mate, is the most mental league in the world. The bottom 3 is really just unreal. So you got Peterborough 21 points, Derby 21 points, Barnsley on 23, and then Reading 29. But Barnsley have got 2 games in hand. Peterborough have got 2 games in hand over Derby as well. So it's a fascinating one. I think Derby would have been looking to pick up a win against Cardiff. I think they would have earmarked that as a game they could potentially take 3 points from. They were probably a little bit disappointed to not get anything from the game. Cardiff scored late. I did think Cardiff were relatively good. I thought Derby were all right as well. But ultimately, Wayne was not happy. I think he criticised the ref and a few others. He said, I'm just going to read his statement now. He said, I can't say too much. It's the truth. It's not acceptable. Some of the decisions, are we getting punished because no one expects us to stay in the division? We're still fighting and we'll fight to the end. And he just said, we're not taking chances. We're getting punished. We're getting fouled in the lead up to the goal and not getting punished by officials. So I didn't watch the full game. So I'd be interested in the guys and girls who went to the game and have seen it in full, if they think that Rooney's got any point about some of those decisions. But we talked about how much he's got he's done a tremendous job, mate. But compared to a couple of weeks ago, I think it does look a little bit tighter for him in terms of 2-3 weeks ago, I was convinced Derby would definitely staying up. Now I'm a bit more it looks a bit difficult. What do you think?
Well, the 8 points. So that's 8 points and 33 points left to play for. So, still a long way to go. Reading, what Reading have done, the new manager coming in has given them a little burst. Will they maintain that, or will we see what we sometimes see when a manager comes in, does well, but then kind of dips? So, but yeah, Birmingham, Hull, Cardiff have just got themselves out of it now, and Reading, without a couple of wins in the last week or so, have put a span in the works for Derby. So it's gonna go right to the wire now. I was last week, I was thinking, they're going to do it easy.
It's the Championship, mate. It's just.
But looking at it now, Reading have turned a corner and got a couple of good results. So.
Well, when Reading replaced their manager,
sorry, mate, Peter, they've got a new manager now. Well, they give him that boost that they need. So
Lorna says the ref was awful at the Cardiff Derby game. Well, sorry, mate, I didn't mean to interrupt you then. I was going to say that with the Championship, it's so mad, like, because all the teams just beat each other weekly. So when it can look one week like, Derby, they're going to stay up comfortably. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, they look in trouble. We just talked about Luton against Chelsea in the Cup, mate. Luton in the league have been
really
phenomenal.
well.
Unbelievable. And so they're sixth, only by a point. But their form, they've beaten like teams like West Brom, good teams in the last few games. I just don't know if they have a big enough and strong enough squad to
if they play like they did yesterday, they've got a great chance, because, like I said, it was a really good game and they were unlucky. So
in their last 7 league games, they've beaten Swansea, they beat Cambridge in the FA Cup, then they beat Barnsley, they lost to Birmingham, beat West Brom, beat Stoke, beat Derby. Like, it's no fluke that they're up there. I've been very, very impressed with them. The players the Cardiff have brought in the January window has saved them this year. And I absolutely will I will die on that hill, because in January, I remember saying it to you, we had no money to spend. And I said, if we don't bring players in, we will go down, because we were right down there. We were playing awful. We just looked devoid of ideas, devoid of quality. All of a sudden, he injected those young players on loan, all of which, every single one of them has been excellent. They've come in, they've freshened up a squad. New manager's got, he's got another year next year now already. Not sure, we'll talk about that in a sec. But that window is what has turned the corner for Cardiff this year. So last week, mate, I asked you about Steve Morrison. Should he get the job permanently? Should they just give it to him now because he's done such a good job? We both agreed probably not. And they made that mistake with Mick McCarthy, going too early, and then it all went to bits. And then this week they've announced that they have given him another year. So he's in there for next year. Where do you stand on that? Because they haven't given him a long-term contract, but they have given him a permanent contract.
Well, they've kind of learned from their mistakes, but reward him in the same breath. So, yeah, it's,
I think he deserves some level.
Yeah, he does deserve it, because, like I say, when he's coming at the January window as well, he brought the young players in. You have to have good knowledge about where these young players are, and will he be able to handle this level? Yes, they have, and he's been brave enough to play them. Got them out of the relegation fight. They're quite clearly safe, and see if he can bring these or get a couple of these young players signed down, or see if they can come back and get his squad ready for next year. And if he, I'm pretty sure if he has a good start and the mid-table, they're doing pretty well next year, that contract will get extended.
Yeah, and I think with Cardiff, there's so many players out of contract, and they've got so many loan players that they don't want to be looking for a manager in the summer, because I think there's going to be quite a bit of movement in and out of the football club.
And they'll like that he can, go out and find players that they don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that the board will like that at Cardiff as well. So yeah. I'm pretty sure it'd be up against it, but I'm sure he's up to the test. He's shown he's up to it so far. So
he's done a tremendous job. I've been very impressed with him and his team. They brought in the right players as well. Guys.
10 players is a lot.
10 players out of contract at the end of the season. So the last thing you want is a manager who's, you don't know if he's staying or going. I think it's so.
So two or three of them will probably come back. Yeah, and the rest will probably go. But that's a big number out your squad when it's not the biggest of squads anyway.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I've got to say, by the way, I think just moving on to some other teams, I think the fact that Stoke City and West Brom are in the bottom half of the Championship at this stage of the season, if I was a fan of either club, I would be absolutely furious.
West Brom have gone, haven't they? West Brom have
money they spent, the squads they've got. I just think it's Stoke. the fact that Stoke have been in the Championship now for what, 4 or 5 years, is it? Since they got relegated, with that team that they've got, and they have never even looked remotely like going back up, is quite shocking. And I think it's a kind of detriment to the players they've got there. That there's something wrong.
Stoke, you've got players that most of these Stoke players, they live in Old Edge, live in Manchester, Cheshire. So I think it's just have you got the right characters? Have you got the right characters there at Stoke? Yes, they're good players on paper, but that was 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe they just come here for a little payday. It's nice. It's close to Old Edge and Cheshire. I was surprised when I found that out. The amount of Stoke players live in Old Edge, because it's still a good 40 minutes away drive to Stoke. M6. So I know you probably won't go on the M6. You go the A34, but still, it's a trek. But lifestyle, innit? Why would you want to live in Stoke when you can live in Old Edge?
Yeah. So you've got Birmingham City. They seem. Do you think they're safe? They seem to be. They're 8 points clear of Reading down the bottom. I think they're pretty safe, aren't they? But then, like you said, what did you say there was left to play for? 30-odd points?
33, 11 games, I think.
A lot of points to play for.
It should be the 46 games. So, 11 games Derby have got. Some of them have got more. They've got 13 games. So that's...
With that amount of points, right? So with that amount of points to play for, and you've got Peterborough at the bottom on 21 points, and then as far up as Swansea on 41 at 16. Like, mathematically, they can all be caught, can't they? If those teams have a bad end or a good end to the season,
but
they're all within risk. Like
highly unlikely they're going to.
How far up does it go then? Do you think
16 points?
Yeah,
16 points. Highly unlikely they're going to catch Birmingham or Hull or Cardiff.
So you think it only is between the bottom 4 then?
Well, if Barnsley got the if Barnsley and Peterborough both won the 2 games in hand, but they're down there for a reason. They haven't been winning games back to back. So how are you going to see them winning the 2 games in hand? They're down there for a reason. Out of 33 games, so what's that? Out of 99 points, they've got 21.
It's a weird one. Swansea's season continues to be up and down. Their last 4 results: lost to Stoke 3-0, beat Bristol 3-1, lost to Sheffield United 4-0, beat West Brom 2-0. So it's very up and down, and that's why they're kind of where they are. And even before that, it was lost 1-1. They lost to Luton, beat Blackburn. It's
the hardest thing in the world, mate. It's once you being consistent and inconsistent, once you gets into a habit.
So a
good habit of winning, a good habit of losing, and a good habit of just being inconsistent, and that's what they're doing at the minute.
So like we talk about, if like a striker's in bad form and they just can't hit a barn door, and then like
you in Super 6, just struggling with it, just hitting barn doors.
But then when you hit form, it goes. So like we talk about good form, bad form. You can have a run and everything will go right, or you can have a run where everything goes wrong. Do you think you can have that same sort of mentality with like lose one, win one, where you just can't find a consistent run?
No. Yeah, it's inconsistent. You know.
It's clearly
you're at 1 minute, yes, you've won, and the next minute, it's no good. There's something happening that if it keeps on happening, there's something not quite right, and it needs to be addressed. And you do that in season. Something's happening, or something's not right, and you have a meeting, or you have a heart to heart, or you have something, or whatever. Something has to happen for it to change, and it just carry on happening.
Spot on. But Reese says, Rhodri, as an ex-player, what would your thoughts be on Paul Ince playing his son for Reading? Are you looking at it as a player going, that's nepotism? So basically, if you were in the squad, would you have a problem with it?
No. As long as
I
he's
suppose
good
it
enough.
depends if he's
As long as he's good enough, you don't give it. It's when the shit. That's
Yeah.
when the problem is. But Tom Ince is not shit, so you're going to play him, and he, yeah. So it's when the players, my friends, I won't say the name, but friends coaching and the manager plays his son.
Okay.
And he's crap. And I've watched him. He's crap.
It's
But he
problematic
plays
then,
him,
isn't it?
that's why the relegation fight.
Mm.
He's crap. He's just, he can probably can play football, but there's levels, certain levels, and yeah.
And I think, like, if it comes down to it, and Paul, like, say they sign a right winger who works harder, is better technically, is in form, is playing better, and he still picks Tom Ince, then that's the manager?
Why is the manager, when his son plays in that position, going to buy someone or bring someone in?
Well, all right, you could be an academy player who's better, but you know what I mean. It's only a problem if there's someone else who should be playing in that position, isn't it?
Yeah,
if there's no one else, or
if
the son is the best
he's not
player,
good enough to be in that position and he shouldn't be in there, then yeah. But that isn't the case with this. We talked about, I think, last week with Darren Ferguson. Do you think he should have been playing in that Manchester United midfield in 93, 94? Because he played a lot of games.
Mm-hmm. So Reece says there, he said
you've got Paul Ince, you've got Brian Robson, you've got Roy Keane,
you've playing Darren Ferguson.
So some managers will fit him in because they're the son, but this isn't the case with this. Tom Ince is probably a lower Premier League player.
Yeah, I think on his best day he is.
The top,
but like Reece says there, before
and he's your son. If he's not working, you're going to be fucking telling him that. You're gonna, if it was my son, he'd be getting told more. Be getting told at work and at home.
Yeah, 100%. But like. So Reece said Tom Ince joined in January. He's only played 3 games since he joined, and 2 of them have come under his dad recently. So before his dad came in, he wasn't being picked. So I think that's where the question kind of comes
no
from.
Surprise, he's been picked, and they've got a few results.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's he been playing? And at the end of the day, I don't have an issue with it as long as he's the best option for that position. He's the best player.
Basically, he's not been playing. They've not been winning. Then he's been played, and then they've won. So there's a common denominator there. It's just who else to get if he's sat on the bench. Obviously not working hard enough, and he's got the ability. But who's going to get that better than his dad? Get out of him better than his dad?
No, I said. Do you know what else as well? By the way, do you know we haven't talked about enough in the Championship is Blackpool. They're having a great season for a club, a small club. With all due respect, they're perfectly safe. They're up in 14th. They beat Reading most recently. Got a small squad, but they've never been in danger of being relegated. All right, they're not. Doesn't look like they're going to push for the playoffs, but ultimately, I think they'll be very happy with the season they've had.
Battered Reading, didn't they? 4-1.
Yeah. They brought in a new assistant manager as well, which I think, hopefully, from their point of view, will help the manager to progress. They have got a small squad, and I think that's probably what's cost them in terms of consistency. But I mean, they have never at any point this season looked like they're going to go down, which is always a worry. So I think they deserve a tremendous amount of credit, mate.
It's a good. Yeah, it's a good.
It's a good season.
Good season from It's the Bloomfield Road in Blackpool. Yeah, nice.
So I want to finish off, mate. If anyone's got any questions, now's the time to send them in. I want to finish off talking about the Coca-Cola Cup, the Milk Cup, the Carling Cup, the Mickey Mouse Cup, whatever people want to call it. The Carabao Cup. I saw a lot of people say it was the greatest 0-0 that's ever been played.
Which one was that?
What did you think? The Carabao Cup final on Sunday.
I fell asleep. I watched it till about 10 minutes left, and I fell asleep, and then woke up when the penalties were on.
So I did see a lot of people say it was the greatest, and like different people saying
it was a good game for 0-0.
0-0.
You know, he wasn't,
Cool.
switching over on your phone. It was a very good game, and with some very good chances that should have been taken. But it was one of them games. No Mason Mount, how he missed at least 2 of them. That he'd scored another day. Liverpool the same. Mane, great save by Mendy. So yeah, it was a good game, but the greatest 0-0.
People
I
love
don't really like take a note of the greatest 0-0 games. Kind of,
it's a weird thing.
I kind of put them in a box and move on.
It is a weird thing.
Yeah,
the greatest 0-0.
Basically, saying we're watching something, it's entertaining, but there was no goals. Like watching an NFL game, it was good, but there was no touchdowns. Right.
Great. Can I ask a question, by the way? Who is? What do you think of Jorginho, Chelsea midfielder, since he signed? Think he does a good job?
Yeah, he's all right.
I saw someone.
He's the type of maybe he's the type of player United needs. Someone like that type of player. He'll fit in somewhere, but I don't know. Is it not for United, but that type of player?
Just that no nonsense but quiet player, just kind of just goes about his business. Yeah.
Does his job. If Fred had that kind of mentality, then he'd be perfect. But sometimes thinks he's.
You seem to have turned a corner on Fred, mate, in the last month.
Because he does. He works hard, and he's not a bad footballer. He's just not a Manchester United footballer. But he'll still do a job. He'll still do a job. He can get around the park, which is important this day and age. So, yeah,
I like it, mate. Couple of comments. I'm all right, Reece. Just had a bad couple of weeks. I'm sure I'll be fine. Thanks for asking.
It won't be after. It won't be after 5 o'clock tomorrow. That's when your lead ends. Saturday. Just gone forever.
I'll be chasing you then, mate. That's when the pressure really going to be on. Shoot the defense says it's like when Fergie announced his first retirement. The players don't know who's coming in. This lot don't have a clue who the next boss is, but don't seem like they're playing for their futures. So I think that's referring to United. Like they don't know who the new manager is going to be, but they also don't seem to be playing for their futures.
No, but that's an issue as well because why am I listening to this guy? He's not going to be here next year and next year. So you can't. You wouldn't expect them to have them kind of thoughts, but probably a couple of them have. You think they're going to be professional, and be right on it. But they might have a Cyprus League mentality, and
And he also followed it up by saying, Pochettino. Everyone says how good he is, but he's at PSG, and there's talk about him losing his job. Despite having Neymar, Messi, and
exactly
Mbappe,
they're not walking away with it over there
in a pub league.
They're not walking away with it over there. And if you think that Messi come to United and scored 2 goals, people would be okay with that. They just wouldn't. The manager would be getting it, the player would be getting it, everyone would be getting it. But on the other side, Ronaldo scored 16 odd goals, and he's still getting grief. Imagine he had 2 goals. It's just I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. He's not won anything. He doesn't. I don't buy it.
A few other comments.
Fergie likes it. Oh yeah, Fergie, yeah, great. Yeah. Fuck off. Fergie liked fucking Moyes as well. And what happened to him? Forget Fergie. He's a great manager, great ambassador of the club. Just
Football's changed now, mate. Let's be honest.
He's still very nice.
I know he's still the greatest ever, but football has changed, hasn't it? It's like, Leslie says,
what do you think of this? Yeah, he's all right. He shouldn't have any part in this decision, though, in my opinion.
So, would you still ask him if you were in that position? Would you still ask?
I'd still ask him what you think, but you value his opinion.
Make a decision based on it.
But I've known. Everything's it's Manchester United, but there'd be a hint of what's the word? I can't think of the word. Be looking after himself, not looking after himself. No, I can't think of the word.
Okay. Leslie says, can he have a prediction for Middlesbrough versus Luton on Saturday? I
Where's
think
it at?
Luton, Peterborough.
Where's it at?
Peterborough. So I think Luton 3-0.
Luton 3-0.
Yeah.
Where's it at? Middlesbrough.
Yeah, Peterborough. Fuck's sake. Middlesbrough, yeah. I'm going to go Luton.
2-2. Score draw.
3-1 to Luton.
Who asked that?
Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie. So you'd rather go with mine because Si's crap at predictions. So
well, I wouldn't say I'm crap. I'm just having a bad spell. We all have them. You had yours earlier in the season. Mine,
bad year. You're having a bad year, like you know else having a bad year? Ammonia. Terrible year. Terrible. I'm hearing today that the Apple players have not been paid. And so a disgruntled team beat Ammonia side in Ammonia. That's how poor they are. Sack the manager. Yeah, it's terrible.
Unprofessional.
But, you know, Epoel are looking strong still, even though the players are disgruntled.
Yusuf says United need 4 to 5 hungry, new, honest players, in his opinion. Would you go with that?
Yeah.
Spot on, Yusuf. Welcome as well, by the way.
Because, like I said before, you're going to lose Mata, you're going to lose Matic, and like I said before, Matic was the best player on the park the last game. And when he went off...
Mate, to me, that's embarrassing because... But it shows that United have needed that player, like Matic, a younger Matic, since Matic came. And they still haven't addressed it.
Yeah, but this is what I can't understand. The amount of people that what Darren Fletcher, what are you doing? Are you not saying what is going on here where we need someone about what we're doing? No, it's just sat there.
Bizarre, mate. Bizarre.
It just puzzles me. You know, puzzles me. McTominay, yes, he'll do a job, but you know, you can't rely on him for the full season. You need someone better. Like I say, Pogba's going to go. Mata, Cavani, Lingard. You know, there's going to be an exodus of 4, 5 or 6 players. So yes, we're going to need players. Martial's going to go because he's on loan. He's going to come back. They're going to sell him. So they've got funds they have funds to play with. Plus, you've got the Rashford situation. What has happened to him? He's just been not great. So you know, he's had a bad season. So we'll see where we are with him next year. And, you know, Sancho, I wasn't sold on him, but very, very, very impressed over the last month. And he seems to be getting better. I would question his fitness and his attitude at the start of the season. Why was he not fit? Because he doesn't look fit. And he does look right on it now. So, but you're giving him the benefit of the doubt because he's come to a new club. It's a big club, big change. So you give him the benefit of the doubt because he's starting to perform now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Some interesting comments in the chat. Like Leslie says, was the word you were looking for was it neglect when you were talking about those United players? Shoot Defense says Mbappe looks like he could be leaving Paris. Yeah, I think so. I think I'd be amazed.
He's Real Madrid bound though, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. They were on about signing him and someone else, and I was like, how the hell have they got that money when they're completely brassic? Who was it? Someone else who was going to cost like 100 million. Haaland, it might have been. Yeah, so they were going to sign both of them.
Might put a clanger on it now. But Aubameyang, he might start performing for them, and they won't. Why would they want to get anyone else in if they've got Aubameyang? Because he'll do well there for them.
Shoot the Defense also says Barnsley might turn it around. New manager starting to make big decisions. Paid off at the weekends. They just need to stop conceding so many goals.
Barnsley, Peterborough have made a change. Reading have made a change. They've all made changes, panicking, thinking they're going to get relegated, thinking we'll bring a new manager in and we'll have our last push and we'll see if we can get out of it. That's the last thing they can do. And Derby need to respond to it. Otherwise, you know, all that hard work will be for nothing because, you know, most of us thought they were going to do it and do it easily. Well, I did anyway, but now it's going to go right to the wire now.
Yeah, Rooney needed, he needs to just perhaps galvanise him a little bit now, doesn't he? They've had a tough little spell, but I'm sure he will. Right, Reese is bang on this Pochettino train, so I'm going to read this verbatim. He says, Pochettino is leaving Paris Saint-Germain because Leonardo is in charge of the signings. He asked for key players in the summer. The club signed 2 right-backs and a goalkeeper. PSG are running away with the league. Jurgen Klopp kept losing in the Champions League final at Dortmund, finishing second in the league. Look at the job he's done at Liverpool since being given time and stuff. And he says, Simeone losing in the finals. Look at the job he's done. So he's kind of saying,
yes,
Pochettino's the man for United.
That's a good point there Reece has made with Klopp. I'm sure Klopp won a couple of things in Dortmund. Cup or...
Yeah, he won some cups, didn't he? League cups and that.
No, Pochettino won nothing.
I believe Haaland is possibly... There was a lot of things about an agreement with Madrid, and that's what I mean. In Madrid...
There's no way they're taking both of them, so... Well... in my mind, listening to Mbappe as well, he's going to Real Madrid. And so
that's what I was on about. There was a story from someone who was, fairly reputable, saying that they were both going to Madrid, and I was like, but Madrid haven't got any money apparently. No. So how are they signing the 2 most expensive strikers in the bloody world? But it is what it is. Yeah, TalkSport was one of the people.
Yeah, I don't think they could play with each other anyway.
I don't think they're necessarily the right pairing, are they? But
no.
2 phenomenal footballers. Apparently, Real Madrid reportedly preparing to make 2 Galactico transfers this summer as they look to sign both Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland.
It's a non-starter. I don't know.
Because isn't Haaland, he's going to be cheaper in the summer, isn't he? He's not going to be like 100 and whatever million. I thought he's going to be like 65, something like that. Because there's a release clause in his contract, which becomes active this summer for 64 million. And Mbappe's contract expires in the summer. So actually, when you look at it like that, Mbappe would be a free transfer.
It's not about that, mate. It's about the 2 centre forwards. They won't be able to play with each other. So what you do? Play one of them, leave on the bench.
Mbappe can play wide though, can't he? Like if a 3.
No, I don't see it.
No,
you say they'll get him cheap, but what? But the wages like 600, 500 grand a week. So you're going to play £1 million a week for 2 players?
Well, mate,
that's the type of money they'll be demanding, especially when you're going down the free.
Well, mate, if you're Mbappe and you're going to say, first thing I'd be saying is, if I was his agent, Gareth Bale's on 500 grand a week and he doesn't, he's out on loan. That's the minimum that we're going to accept, but we expect more.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Minimum £1 million for 2 players a week.
You'd have to build the rest of the bonuses.
It's going to be more than that. So I don't see it. I don't see it at all.
Gaz says, "Do you think Conor McGregor will buy Chelsea?" No. I thought he was a United fan.
Yeah, he is. No.
I think people just put 2 and 2 together because he said something on Twitter.
He likes traffic, old Connor. He's very, very smart man.
He's clever, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. No.
And also, Leslie says that there seems to be some sort of medical emergency going on at the Everton Boro Wood game. Looks like a fan or someone has had a heart attack, which is concerning. Obviously, we wish everyone involved best wishes.
Want to talk to you about Saturday night? What points, Scott? You must have talked about fighters.
Oh, the boxing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, mate.
I'm no judge. Now I'm no boxer, but when that guy won that fight.
It's embarrassing, mate. I think. Look, I like both boxing and MMA, but in recent years, I've lent more to MMA because of stuff like this. It leaves a real sour taste in your mouth. And my thing is, what's his name? Jack. Forgot his surname. So the young lad who's challenging, this is the biggest night of his career. He's trained for it literally since he was 4 or 5 years old. He's wanted to be a world champion. He also last year stepped aside so Josh Taylor could go and unify the titles.
Oh yeah.
So he stepped aside, got his chance, completely outboxed the champion, or bordering on embarrassed him in some of the rounds, completely outboxed him, and then to take it away from him in that fashion with those judges' scorecards, because even the one judge which gave it to Jack, he only gave it to him by a point. So even that was wrong, because he was clearly, it was a clear victory. But to have two judges do that, it leaves a real sour taste, mate. And I got to be honest, it kind of turns me off boxing a lot, because
I'm the exact same.
I felt so sorry for him, mate. I really did. And you wouldn't blame him if he just went, do you know what? What's the point? And I'm sure at some point he's thought that over the last couple of days, because, I'm sure he'll come back and he'll go and then they won't do a rematch because Josh Taylor doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to drop the weight anymore. So I find it, I was really, really angry on Saturday because it was just a joke, really frustrating. But it's not the first time and won't be the last. But I do think boxing as a sport needs to address it, mate. They need to find a way to stop these ridiculous decisions happening, because, it was ludicrous. I saw you retweet a couple of things and saying a couple of things. And even as a fan point of view, mate, right? We've just sat and watched 12 rounds of boxing, and then you get a shit result like that. Like, it's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
I switched it over to the US.
It's heartbreaking, especially when you know that. I know Jamie, so and
by the way,
it's life changing to be undisputed world champion. It's he works part time, I think, or does as a
he's probably got a day job, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's just a shame.
I
really do believe that, because even Ian John Lewis, he's been in the game for years. How could he score that like that?
Yeah,
it's just wrong in so many levels. He had a knockdown, he had points taken off, and he won about 8 rounds. So how the fuck did he lose it by 3?
100%, mate. 100%. And like you say, those judges, the one judge, he knows boxing. So how he can do that is bizarre, mate, honestly. The other thing I was going to say, I thought Jamie Moore, obviously Jack's coach, who did the interview for him after the fight, rightly so. Because all that happens, Jack would have spoken with emotion and got himself in trouble with the boxing boards and all that stuff. So I'm glad that his team took him out of the ring and left him to go and try and get his head around it. But I thought Jamie Moore's interview was phenomenal, because you could see how emotional and frustrated he was, but he articulated himself so well, said what everyone was thinking, and he did so without getting too upset, without losing his rag. And I thought he was a real credit to himself, his team, the fighter. I thought it was phenomenal, mate, I got to say.
No, I agree.
And I know you know him, so make sure you pass that on.
Totally agree, yeah.
Right, bit of a longer one this evening, my friend.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Quick shout out to Stez, who we do shoot the defence with on a. Yeah, he's just been given a coaching job at Doncaster. With Gary McSheffrey and Frank Sinclair. So yeah, first game Saturday. So shout out to Stez.
Well done, Stez. Good effort, mate. Best of luck. And also,
no more twiddling his thumbs on the Marriott.
And of course, guys, check out Shoot a Defence podcast on Monday with Rhodri as well.
Yeah. Or the No Choftes Ammonia, pathetic ammonia team. No Choftes. Good.
The players have down tools, I heard.
Huh?
Players are down tools, haven't they?
Down tools, yeah. Well, no, not really. They're just having a bad year. But I'm not one to rub it in.
Guys, as always, it's been a pleasure. We'll be back next Thursday. I'll be back on Sunday, but tomorrow night dropping an interview from I had ex-Manchester United and Cardiff City defender Derek Brazil join me at Eat Sleep Media Studios. So check that out. It's out Friday night, 8 o'clock. It's a good little chat with a
better
legend
how
of a
it's
man.
set up that as well. No, instead of being in that room, he's in a different room, aren't you?
Yeah. So it's we was in, as you go in,
Yeah.
and you've got like the open office bit on the right. It was in there because they were filming something else in there.
Yeah.
I thought it looked pretty good, didn't it, with the window and that?
Yeah.
But it was a good one actually. It was a good chat. Derek's he's so chatty, like he's a phenomenal guy. So yeah, check that out Friday night, 8 o'clock. Appreciate you all. Nice one, mate. And let's go.